Hey everyone, and welcome back to ClearTalk English. I'm Sarah, your host, and oh my goodness, do we have an amazing episode for you today. We are talking about one of my absolute favorite topics, health and fitness. And I promise you, this is not going to be one of those boring, intimidating fitness podcasts where someone tells you to wake up at 4 a.m. and eat only celery. No.
Thank goodness for that. Hey everyone, I'm Mark, and I'm so excited to be here today. Sarah, I have to say, when you told me we were doing this topic, I literally did a little happy dance in my kitchen.
I love that. And I think our listeners are going to feel the same way because we're going to keep it completely real today. We're going to talk about our actual routines, our struggles, our guilty pleasures, all of it. No filter.
Exactly. And whether you're someone who already works out regularly or someone who has been meaning to start since January 1st of, 3 years ago, this episode is for you. We're not here to judge anybody.
Absolutely not. Okay, so if you're new here, hello and welcome to ClearTalk English. This is the podcast where we help you improve your English through natural, everyday conversations just like the ones real people have. So sit back, relax, and let's talk health and fitness. Let's go. All right, Mark, before we officially dive in, I have to warm up with a question that I ask everyone who comes on the show to talk about fitness. Ready? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I haven't moved from my couch in 3 weeks, and 10 being I run marathons for fun, where are you right now? Honestly.
Okay, honestly, right now I'd say I'm a solid 7, maybe a 7.5 on a good week. I work out regularly, I eat pretty well, but I'm definitely not perfect. I have bad weeks, I have lazy Sundays, I eat way too many cookies sometimes. I'm human.
Okay, a 7.5 is really good. I feel like I fluctuate between a 5 and a 7 depending on the week. Some weeks I'm super motivated, I'm doing yoga, I'm cooking healthy meals, going to bed early, and then other weeks I order pizza 3 nights in a row and my yoga mat just sits there looking at me with disappointment.
Ha! The disappointed yoga mat. That's such a specific feeling and I completely understand it. I think a lot of people can relate to that. The important thing is that you come back to it, right?
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the whole philosophy we want to talk about today. It's not about being perfect all the time. It's about building a lifestyle that's sustainable and that you actually enjoy. Because if you hate every minute of your health routine, you're not going to stick with it.
100%. And I learned that the hard way. I went through a phase about 2 years ago where I was doing this really strict program, 6 days a week, very intense, super restrictive diet, and I burned out completely after about 2 months. I was exhausted, I was miserable, and I gained back all the weight I'd lost. So now I do things differently.
Ooh, I want to hear all about that. Okay, let's actually get into the conversation properly. Let's start with exercise. So Mark, walk me through your current workout routine, like a typical week for you. What does that actually look like?
Sure. So right now, I'm going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, and I focus mostly on weight training, or strength training, some people call it. So Monday, I usually do upper body, like chest, shoulders, and triceps. Wednesday, I do back and biceps, and Friday, I do legs, which is honestly my least favorite day, but I force myself.
I feel like everyone hates leg day. Why is that? What's so bad about it?
Because squats are awful, Sarah. They're effective, but they are brutal. After a heavy leg day, I can barely walk down the stairs the next morning. But you know what they say, no pain, no gain. And my legs have genuinely gotten so much stronger in the past year, so I can't complain too much.
Okay, that's fair. And then on top of the gym, you also do cycling, right? You mentioned that earlier.
Yes. So on Sundays, I go cycling, and that's my absolute favorite part of the week. There's a trail that starts about 5 minutes from my apartment, and it goes along the river for about 15 kilometers, then through this beautiful little forest and ends at a town called Milford, where there's this incredible coffee shop called the Rusty Kettle. So I cycle there, have a coffee and maybe a pastry, very ironic after a workout, I know, and then cycle back.
Oh, that sounds absolutely lovely. How long does the whole thing take?
About 2 hours, including the coffee stop, and it genuinely feels like the highlight of my week. It doesn't feel like exercise at all. It feels like an adventure. The fresh air, the scenery, the birds. It's meditative, honestly.
I love that so much. I think finding that kind of movement where it feels like a reward rather than a chore is really the secret to consistency, isn't it?
100%. And I learned that the hard way. I went through a phase about 2 years ago where I was doing this really strict program, 6 days a week, very intense, super restrictive diet, and I burned out completely after about 2 months. I was exhausted, I was miserable, and I gained back all the weight I'd lost. So now I do things differently.
Ooh, I want to hear all about that. Okay, let's actually get into the conversation properly. Let's start with exercise. Okay, so what time do you actually go to the gym? Because I know you mentioned you're a morning person, and I want to understand how that actually works in practice.
So I wake up at 6, drink a big glass of water, which by the way is something I'd recommend to everyone, have a small pre-workout snack, usually a banana or some oats, and I'm at the gym by 6:30. I'm usually done by 7:45, back home by 8, shower, breakfast, and I'm at my desk working by 9. I love the feeling of having already exercised before most people are even fully awake.
Okay, I have so many questions. First of all, do you set an alarm or do you actually just wake up naturally at 6?
I set an alarm. Let's be real. I set 3 alarms, actually. 6, 6:05, and 6:10, just in case I'm tempted to snooze. But honestly, after doing this for about a year, my body is kind of adjusted. On weekends, I often wake up around 6:30 without an alarm, which is either amazing or a little bit tragic, depending on how you look at it.
Huh, I think it's both. I am absolutely not a morning person. I train in the evenings. I do yoga at about 7 p.m., 3 times a week, and I actually love it because it helps me transition from work mode to relax mode. By the time I finish a yoga session, I feel completely calm and ready for the rest of the evening.
That's such a nice way to use exercise, as like a mental transition point in the day. I do something similar in the morning. The gym kind of switches my brain into go mode for work. So it's interesting that exercise can serve completely different purposes depending on when you do it.
Exactly. And I think there's no wrong answer. Morning, evening, lunch break, whatever works for your life is the right answer. The only wrong answer is not moving at all.
Well said. And I know some people feel pressure to work out in the morning because they've read that it's better for metabolism or whatever. But honestly, the best time to work out is whenever you'll actually do it consistently.
All right, let's move on to food because I feel like this is where things get really interesting and also where most people's plans fall apart, including mine. Mark, you do meal prep, right? Tell me everything.
Yes, meal prep is honestly one of the best habits I've ever built. So every Sunday afternoon, usually around 3 or 4 p.m., I spend about 2 hours cooking for the entire week. I make proteins like grilled chicken breast, baked salmon, or sometimes turkey meatballs. Then I roast a big batch of vegetables, usually broccoli, zucchini, bell peppers, and sweet potatoes, and I cook a big pot of either brown rice, quinoa, or lentils.
And you eat the same thing all week? Doesn't that get boring?
So I mix and match. Like on Monday, I might have chicken with rice and broccoli. Tuesday, the same chicken, but with quinoa and bell peppers. Wednesday, I make a wrap with the salmon. You'd be surprised how many combinations you can make with the same basic ingredients. And the key is having good sauces. I love a simple lemon tahini dressing or just good olive oil and herbs. It makes everything taste different.
Oh, that's so smart. I never thought about it as mixing and matching. I always imagined meal prep as eating the exact same container 5 times and going insane by Wednesday.
Yeah, that would be miserable. The variety is what makes it sustainable. And the time savings are incredible. During the week, I'm not spending 40 minutes making dinner every night. I just heat things up and I'm eating in 5 minutes. Honestly, it's changed my life.
Okay, I really need to start doing this. Every week I say I will, and then Sunday comes and I convince myself I'll just wing it during the week. And then Wednesday night, I'm ordering takeout because I haven't gone grocery shopping.
So the trick I used at the beginning was starting very small. The first week, I just prepped one thing. I roasted a big tray of vegetables. That's it. Just that one thing, and it already helped so much because I had healthy stuff ready. Then the next week, I added a protein. Little by little, it became a real habit.
I love that approach, starting small. Okay, but let's talk about the fun stuff. What are your food weaknesses? What can you absolutely not resist?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, pizza. Specifically, a good Neapolitan-style pizza with burrata and prosciutto. I could eat an entire one by myself. I've done it many times. I'm not ashamed.
Honestly, respect. No shame in that at all. For me, it's two things, dark chocolate and cheese. I can eat an embarrassing amount of cheese, like a good brie with some crackers, and I'm gone. I lose all self-control.
Okay, cheese is a valid weakness. At least it has protein and calcium, right? That's what I tell myself with pizza. Tomato sauce has lycopene, which is good for you.
I love that, looking for the nutritional silver lining. But seriously, do you feel guilty when you eat those things? Because I know a lot of people really struggle with food guilt.
I used to. A lot, actually. I went through a period where I tracked every single calorie, and if I went over my limit, I'd feel terrible about myself, and then somehow eat even more out of frustration. It was a vicious cycle. Now I've completely let go of that mindset and just focus on eating well most of the time without obsessing over every meal.
That sounds so much healthier mentally. I try to follow the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, I make good choices, and 20% I eat whatever I feel like without analyzing it. And honestly, that balance makes the 80% so much easier because you don't feel deprived.
The 80-20 rule is brilliant because it's realistic. The problem with most diets is that one bad meal feels like a failure and people give up entirely. But if you're already planning for that 20%, one pizza doesn't ruin anything. It was always part of the plan.
Exactly. It's about progress over time, not perfection in the moment. Okay, what about hydration? Do you drink enough water? Because I know I don't.
Water is something I've become really intentional about. I carry a big 1.5-liter water bottle everywhere I go, and my goal is to finish it twice by the end of the day. That sounds like a lot, but once you're hydrated, you feel so much more energetic. I honestly think dehydration is responsible for so much tiredness and brain fog that people just accept as normal.
Okay, I want to talk about something that I think is massively underrated in the health and fitness conversation, mental health. Because you can have a perfect workout routine and eat all the kale in the world, but if your mental health is suffering, none of that really matters. Mark, how do you take care of yourself mentally?
This is such an important question. So the first thing I'll say is that exercise itself does a lot of the heavy lifting for my mental health, no pun intended. When I exercise regularly, I just feel more balanced, more resilient. I handle stress better. But when I skip too many days, I notice I become more irritable, more anxious. It's almost like a barometer for my mental state.
I feel exactly the same way. Like after a yoga session, I feel like I can handle anything. And on weeks when I don't do it, everything just feels a little harder somehow.
And there's real science behind that. Exercise releases endorphins and serotonin, which are neurotransmitters involved in mood regulation. So it's not just in our heads. Well, it is in our heads, but in a completely legitimate neurochemical way.
Exactly. Okay, and beyond exercise, do you have any other mental health practices?
Yes, meditation. I started about 14 months ago, and I was very skeptical at first. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, a bit too wellness guru for me. But a friend kept recommending it, and I finally tried the Headspace app, just 10 minutes a day. And within about 2 weeks, I noticed a genuine difference in how I responded to stressful situations. Like there was this tiny pause between a stressful thing happening and my reaction to it. And in that pause, I could choose how to respond rather than just reacting automatically.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to describe it, the pause. I've heard meditation teachers talk about this. It's like creating a little space between stimulus and response.
Exactly. And I want to be clear, I'm not sitting in lotus position for an hour a day. It's literally 10 minutes in the morning while my coffee is brewing.
Anyone can do that. And I still have stressful days, I still get anxious sometimes, but I feel like I have better tools to deal with it now.
I love that. And for me, journaling plays a similar role. Every night before bed, I write for about 10 minutes, just whatever is in my head. Sometimes it's processing a difficult situation at work. Sometimes it's just gratitude, like 3 things that went well today. It sounds very simple, but it genuinely helps me sleep better because I'm not lying in bed with 100 thoughts swirling around.
The gratitude practice is something I've read a lot about. There's research suggesting it actually rewires your brain over time to notice positive things more easily, which is incredible when you think about it, that something as simple as writing 3 things you're grateful for can change the structure of your brain.
Right? It's amazing. Okay, and one more thing I want to mention on this topic. Rest days. Do you take them seriously?
Oh, rest days are sacred to me now. I used to feel guilty about them, like if I wasn't working out, I was somehow going backwards. But rest is when your muscles actually repair and grow. It's when adaptation happens. So rest days aren't lazy days, they're part of the training. I do active recovery on rest days, like a gentle walk or some light stretching, but nothing intense.
Mark, I think this is the question everyone wants answered. How do you stay motivated? Because motivation comes and goes. It's not something you can rely on. What keeps you consistent?
This is such an important distinction. Motivation versus discipline. Motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. Some days you feel pumped up and ready to go, and other days you feel like a sad potato on the couch. And if you only work out when you feel motivated, you're going to skip a lot of days. Discipline is different. It's doing it regardless of how you feel because you've committed to it.
Okay, but how do you actually practice discipline in those moments? Like, it's 6 a.m., it's cold outside, your bed is warm and comfortable. What do you tell yourself?
So I have a rule that I completely stole from someone else, the 2-minute rule. All I have to do is put on my gym clothes. That's the only commitment I make to myself in that moment. Not, I'm going to have an amazing workout. Just put on the clothes. And once I'm dressed and I'm standing there, inertia kicks in and I almost always go. It's rare that I put on my gym clothes, drive to the gym and then think, actually no, I'm going home.
That's brilliant. It's like tricking your brain by making the first step so small that there's no excuse not to do it. I do something similar with yoga. I tell myself, just roll out your mat. That's it. And once the mat is out, I'm basically doing yoga.
Exactly. And I think another huge thing is not having all or nothing thinking. Like if I miss one day, I used to feel like the whole week was ruined. Oh well, I already broke my streak, might as well skip the rest of the week, which is completely illogical when you think about it. It's like getting a flat tire and deciding to puncture the other 3 tires too.
Oh, I love that analogy. The 4 flat tires. I've definitely been guilty of that thinking. One bad meal, and I'm like, well, today is a write-off. Let me eat everything in the fridge.
We've all been there. The key is just to get back on track at the next meal or the next day. Never miss twice. That's a rule I try to follow. I might miss a workout, but I never allow myself to miss 2 in a row.
Okay, let's talk about real obstacles, because it's not always just about motivation. Sometimes life genuinely gets in the way. Have you ever had a period where you really fell off track? What happened?
Yes, I hurt my shoulder about a year ago. I was trying to increase the weight on my shoulder press too quickly and I pulled something. I had to stop lifting completely for 3 weeks and do only very light movement. And mentally, that was really tough because exercise had become such a big part of how I managed stress and my mood. Without it, I was anxious and frustrated and eating badly.
Oh, I can imagine that. When something that's part of your mental health routine gets taken away, it affects everything. How did you manage?
I found other things I could do safely. I walked a lot, I cycled since it didn't use my shoulder, I did more meditation and journaling to compensate mentally. And it actually taught me something valuable. Don't put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to exercise. Have multiple forms of movement you enjoy, so if one is unavailable, you still have others.
That's such practical wisdom. And the lesson about progressing too fast is so important too. I think a lot of people get injured because they try to go from zero to hero in 2 weeks.
Absolutely, especially people who are returning after a break. They remember what they used to be able to do and try to get back there immediately instead of treating themselves like a beginner again. Your muscles and tendons need time to adapt. There's no shortcut for that.
Let's talk about goals and how you track progress. Do you set specific goals and do you use apps or other tools to keep yourself on track?
Yes, I use an app called Strong for tracking my gym workouts. Every session, I log exactly what I did, the exercise, the weight, the number of sets and reps, and then 3 months later, I can look back and see that in January I was squatting 60 kilos and now I'm squatting 85 kilos. That visual evidence of progress is incredibly motivating because day-to-day progress is invisible. You look in the mirror and you think nothing is changing, but the numbers don't lie.
Oh, that's such a good point. We're terrible judges of our own progress because we see ourselves every day. It's only when we look back at old photos or old numbers that we realize how much has changed.
Exactly. I also keep a simple weekly goal, like this week I'm going to the gym 3 times and I'm going to meal prep on Sunday. Not a long-term goal, just a weekly intention. And at the end of the week, I check in with myself. Did I do it? If yes, great. If not, no drama. I just look at why and adjust.
I love that approach. It's low pressure but still structured. And for anyone who wants a bit more guidance, working with a personal trainer can be a game changer too. Did you ever work with one, Mark?
Yes, for the first 6 months of weight training, I had a personal trainer named James, and it was absolutely worth the investment. He taught me proper technique for all the major movements, which not only helped me avoid injuries, but also helped me get results faster because I was training correctly. Now I train on my own, but that foundation he gave me is invaluable. I'd recommend at least a few sessions with a trainer for anyone just starting out, even if it's just to learn the basics.
All right, let's close out this section with some practical, actionable tips. If someone is listening right now and thinking, okay, I want to start living healthier, but I genuinely don't know where to begin, what do you say to them, Mark?
Tip number 1. Start so small that it feels almost embarrassingly easy. Not, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Start with, I'm going to go for a 15-minute walk every day. Build the habit first, then build the intensity. The habit is the hard part. The rest follows naturally.
I love that. What's tip number 2?
Find movement you actually enjoy, not what works for your friend or what some influencer is promoting. If you love dancing, take a dance class. If you love swimming, swim. If you love hiking, go hiking. The best exercise is the one you'll actually do consistently. Don't try to force yourself to love something you hate. Explore until you find something that feels good.
So good. And from my side, I'd add, don't underestimate the power of community and accountability. Find a workout buddy, join a class where people know your name and notice if you're absent, or even just follow people online who inspire you. Humans are social creatures, and we do better when we're in it together.
Yes, my friend Tom and I have a WhatsApp group just for the two of us, and every time one of us works out, we send a message. It sounds silly, but it works. There's a sense of accountability. I don't want to be the one who goes a whole week without sending a message.
Ha! The shame of the silent WhatsApp group. Very motivating. And my last tip for beginners, be patient. Real, sustainable results take months, not weeks. If you're consistent for 3 to 6 months, you will see and feel a difference. But you have to give it time. Most people give up right before they would have seen the results.
That's such an important truth. 3 to 6 months might seem like a long time, but it's going to pass anyway. You might as well be building something healthy in that time.
Okay, I can't believe how fast this went. We've talked about so much today. Workout routines, nutrition and meal prep, mental health, sleep, motivation, overcoming obstacles, tracking progress, and tips for beginners. Mark, what would you say is your single biggest takeaway from our conversation today?
If I had to pick one thing, it's that consistency beats intensity every single time. Showing up regularly and doing something, even if it's imperfect, will always outperform sporadic bursts of extreme effort followed by long breaks. Just keep showing up. That's it.
That is perfect. And mine would be give yourself grace. Health is a lifelong journey, not a destination you arrive at. There will be great weeks and terrible weeks, and both are completely normal. What matters is the overall direction, not any single day.
Beautifully said. I feel like I want to print that on a wall.
Okay, everyone, before we wrap up, I want to ask you something. Leave your answer in the comments below. Here's the question. What is one small, healthy change you've made recently, or one change you want to make starting this week? I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you all.
Yes, and if this episode gave you at least one useful idea, please give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who want to improve their English and their health at the same time.
And if you are not yet subscribed to ClearTalk English, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an episode. We post new content every week, and we have some incredible topics coming up that I think you're going to love.
Sarah, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me. I feel like I need to go to the gym now after all this talking about it.
Mission accomplished. Thank you so much for being here, Mark. You're the best. And thank you all so much for listening. Keep learning, keep moving, keep growing. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Stay healthy and happy.